That's right, Olay fans. It has been 55 long days since our last home game with this stretched schedule we're dealing with this season. But 3 wins later and 22 goals, and we go into this weekend's game against Michigan Futsal Factory looking to protect our undefeated streak against a team that fancies the likes of international goalkeeper for the United States of America, Robert Dameron, and commissioner/coach/player Drew Ducker, as they come in looking for their first points of the season and looking to get on the board and catch up in that Midwest table. With that in mind, let's take a look at what we have going on in the standings before we hit this game. Let's start in our own table in the Midwest. Looking at the top of the table is a familiar logo of ours. That's right, it's Grand Rapids Olay. Like I said before, undefeated, 9 points to our name, a +9 goal differential heading into this weekend. And then we take a look down the table, and Detroit Imperial, newcomers to the league this year, also doing double duty in a competing league in Lansing called FCS, and they are looking extremely strong. Their only blemish is against us in that opening match that was played at home for us. And now we take a look even further and find tonight's competition, Michigan Futsal Factory. Still looking for points, -8 goal differential. This season has just not gone their way to get things started, facing off against the 2 best teams in this division, which is ourselves and Imperial. And then Cadence looking for their first points as well. They are at a -10 goal differential. Hopefully they find a way to collect some points. It might help if they get away from the boxing matches and wrestling matches and start playing some futsal. But until then, we'll see what they can do. Heading over to the Southwest Division, we see Gloom, Santa Fe Gloom, the newcomers to the league. They have got 6 points to their name. They've been very busy since their opening game with the most games played in the Southwest Division. They're actually a -3 goal differential after a tough loss this last week against Colorado Futsal Academy, who we find tied with defending champions of the Southwest Division, Brusa FC, each at 3 points. And an unusual bottom of the table, in my opinion, with Flagship, who was just a high flyer last year. Expect them to make some big changes and get back on track as they look for their first points as they continue on in their season as well. A -3 goal differential, just like Gloom. And they will have some very interesting games moving forward in that Southwest Division. So don't forget to stay tuned to the NFPL to see what's going on the opposite side of the country and what our potential playoff competition may be once that structure is announced. So what's on the menu for tonight? Well, let's talk about the matches tonight. First act of the day is ourselves, Grand Rapids, taking on Michigan Futsal Factory for the second time this season. They will be looking to get their first points as they travel to Olay in Grand Rapids to Wyoming High School. It's an unfamiliar home territory for us, as we're usually in home school building, but it's still a home game. Same great fans. And I'll tell you what, watching the away match when we beat them at home, I gotta say, our fans were fantastic. If you closed your eyes and didn't look at the stadium or arena, then you would think that it was a home game. Our fans came out in droves, and we got to hand it to you guys. Amazing, amazing support for our very own Grand Rapids Olay on the road. You guys should be proud of yourselves at your turnout. You made it your own fortress, and I absolutely love that. So let's see what we do at home in full force with our fans at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. Then, next, we see a team that's done just as much wrestling and boxing as they have futsal. That's Cadence. They're looking to capture their first points as they host Detroit Imperial. That game immediately following ours at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 Central. Stay tuned for that and see if they are able to topple who's turned out to be very formidable Detroit Imperial as they look to continue to chase Olay in the standings. They can't afford to have a hiccup along the way until they face us on head-to-head and catch up there. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about a quick review of what happened between then and now, and see if I remember how to do this pregame show since it's been so long, and talk about a couple of the highlights and look at a goal montage that I will share with you guys of all the goals that were captured on camera along the way to tonight's match. So guys, before I show you my goal montage from the last 3 games, again, 22 goals, too much to enjoy. You'll see some of them are better captured than others. Listen, not every team has a Juan Galindo serving them up like we do, so we don't exactly get all the great footage like we do at home, but we're going to enjoy it the best we can anyway. And speaking of Juan Galindo, if you want to hear about his story as GM of Grand Rapids Olay and his experience with the team, make sure you follow along on my YouTube channel, as we just recently did a live stream interview with Juan. And if you guys want to follow along with interviews like that and ask your own questions and drive the interview, feel free to join me there on a monthly basis as we interview folks from the futsal world. And we couldn't help but get Juan on the mic and get his story on his experience with one of the greatest clubs in NFPL history. But back to the action at hand. That home match, that home opener, was so fantastic against a very tough Detroit Imperial. We walked away with a comfortable 6-2 win, but it's important to know that Detroit Imperial was playing a few men down, as a few of their players were participating in the AMF World Championships, which is a slightly different practice of futsal. Some would argue the original futsal, as they were down in Mexico. So there are some star-studded players on that team, and our replay with them is sure to be an absolute intense game that'll keep us on the edge of our seats. I can't wait to see it. And there is no doubt in my mind that that is why they are in the position they are in the standings. But the more important highlight for me is the fact that this crowd was absolutely on fire. You guys showed up and filled Homeschool Building and made it very loud and turned it into a fortress as always. Again, congratulations to you guys on showing out and being proud. I am so proud to wear this emblem and do this pregame show with you guys. The organization itself is top class, and our fans are just the same. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you. Speaking of fans and how great you guys are, the away match against Michigan Futsal Factory sounded like a home match. You guys came out in droves, supported Grand Rapids Olay in their 3-0 victory as they toppled a team that has the likes of Robert Dameron, international goalkeeper, who is actually just now coming back from a training camp with the national team. Drew Ducker, who's a regular in the league, also the coach of the team and commissioner of the league. So a guy that is very invested in this league, eats, sleeps, breathes it, to a point that he is always involved at every level. So we'll see how they fare now in our house, as our fans will be at full strength for that match. Imagine how they felt hearing you guys in their own building, turning it into your own fortress. You guys are absolutely amazing again. So cool. And then we take a look at last week against Cadence. We knew tensions were going to be high because when they faced Detroit Imperial, there was an actual fist fight that broke out during that game, and it didn't fail to deliver on that for us. You take a look at that center circle, and it's really a squared circle. They must have been thinking wrestling, because they were even getting a little chippy right off the rip, as there was some chest bumping and motioning and plenty of fouls in both directions, as this game was very, very intense. And from the top level where it was filmed from, I can only explain it as either a trampoline, bouncy house, or earthquake. So as you watch these highlights, please understand again that not everyone has a Juan on their team that can improve the quality of how their clubs look. But you're going to see some fun stuff from this and some great goals of the 13 that were scored against Cadence in that absolutely intense, wild match. I give our guys a ton of credit. They didn't travel with the full team. There was only 7 of them there. And even one player that showed up late, I won't say who it was, but I will say they were highlighted in yellow. So I'll just leave it at that and have our little bit of fun with him on that case. But the important thing is the win, and a 13-11 win against home team Cadence. And they will be in action later tonight, looking to bounce back from that and build on those 11 goals they scored against league leaders in the Midwest Division. Without further ado, let's dive right into the goal montage of the last 3 games and get hyped up for tonight's match. Well, guys, in Haripeo's past, we've done interviews and quotes from the players, and we've even had one facilitate some of those things so you don't have to listen to me drone on the entire episode. I am very excited to introduce our first player to watch, hosted by our very own Luke Miller, the man behind the streams. They make him look oh so clean. Let's hear who he's got his eye out for in this week's Player to Watch.
Hey, what's up everybody? Luke Miller here with your player to watch for this weekend. Make sure to keep your eyes on the court for a player who's been silently dominating, Gabe Villagomez. In their most recent matchup versus Cadence, Gabe had an impressive performance. He netted 7 goals and tallied an assist. Gabe is number 10 on the team, and his impact is subtle, yet profound. Next up for our boys is Futsal Factory out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Gabe's tally for the season, 9 goals, 5 assists. It's not flashy, it's effective. That's the Gabe Villagomez way. As we approach this matchup versus Futsal Factory, Gabe's consistency on the court is what sets him apart. No grand gestures, just consistent brilliance. So as you're watching the game this weekend, appreciate the play of Gabe Villagomez, a quiet force making every moment count.
So there you go, Olay fans. Everything you need to know heading into tonight's match. Do what you do best. Show up to the game, pack the house, and own Michigan. That's right. Tonight we put our stamp and our dominance on the league against longtime rivals from Ann Arbor, Michigan Futsal Factory. And from your fan from Ohio who loves to see an Ann Arbor team lose, Vamos Olay! That's right, Olay fans. It has been 55 long days since our last home game with this stretched schedule we're dealing with this season. But 3 wins later and 22 goals, and we go into this weekend's game against Michigan Futsal Factory looking to protect our undefeated streak against a team that fancies the likes of international goalkeeper for the United States of America, Robert Dameron, and commissioner slash coach slash player Drew Ducker as they come in looking for their first points of the season and looking to get on the board and catch up in that Midwest table. With that in mind, let's take a look at what we have going on in the standings before we hit this game. Let's start in our own table in the Midwest. Looking at the top of the table is a familiar logo of ours. That's right, it's Grand Rapids Olay. Like I said before, undefeated, 9 points to our name, a +9 goal differential heading into this weekend. And then we take a look down the table, and Detroit Imperial, newcomers to the league this year, also doing double duty in a competing league in Lansing called FCS, and they are looking extremely strong. Their only blemish is against us in that opening match that was played at home for us. And now we take a look even further and find tonight's competition, Michigan Futsal Factory. Still looking for points, -8 goal differential. This season has just not gone their way to get things started, facing off against the two best teams in this division, which is ourselves and Imperial. And then Cadence looking for their first points as well. They are at a -10 goal differential. Hopefully they find a way to collect some points. It might help if they get away from the boxing matches and wrestling matches and start playing some futsal. But until then, we'll see what they can do. Heading over to the Southwest Division, we see Gloom, Santa Fe Gloom, the newcomers to the league. They have got 6 points to their name. They've been very busy since their opening game with the most games played in the Southwest Division. They're actually at a -3 goal differential after a tough loss this last week against Colorado Futsal Academy, who we find tied with defending champions of the Southwest Division, Brusa FC, each at 3 points. And an unusual bottom of the table, in my opinion, with Flagship, who was just a high flyer last year. Expect them to make some big changes and get back on track as they look for their first points as they continue on in their season as well. A -3 goal differential, just like Gloom. And they will have some very interesting games moving forward in that Southwest Division. So don't forget to stay tuned to the NFPL to see what's going on the opposite side of the country and what our potential playoff competition may be once that structure is announced. So what's on the menu for tonight? Well, let's talk about the matches tonight. First act of the day is ourselves, Grand Rapids, taking on Michigan Futsal Factory for the second time this season. They will be looking to get their first points as they travel to Olay in Grand Rapids to Wyoming High School. It's an unfamiliar home territory for us, as we're usually in home school building, but it's still a home game. Same great fans. And I'll tell you what, watching the away match when we beat them at home, I got to say, our fans were fantastic. If you closed your eyes and didn't look at the stadium or arena, then you would think that it was a home game. Our fans came out in droves, and we got to hand it to you guys. Amazing, amazing support for our very own Grand Rapids Olay on the road. You guys should be proud of yourselves and your turnout. You made it your own fortress, and I absolutely love that. So let's see what we do at home in full force with our fans at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. Then next, we see a team that's done just as much wrestling and boxing as they have futsal. That's Cadence. They're looking to capture their first points as they host Detroit Imperial. That game immediately following ours at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 Central. Stay tuned for that and see if they are able to topple who's turned out to be very formidable Detroit Imperial as they look to continue to chase Olay in the standings. They can't afford to have a hiccup along the way until they face us on head-to-head and catch up there. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about a quick review of what happened between then and now, and see if I remember how to do this pregame show since it's been so long, and talk about a couple of the highlights and look at a goal montage that I will share with you guys of all the goals that were captured on camera along the way to tonight's match. So guys, before I show you my goal montage from the last 3 games, again, 22 goals, too much to enjoy. You'll see some of them are better captured than others. Listen, not every team has a Juan Galindo serving them up like we do, so we don't exactly get all the great footage like we do at home, but we're going to enjoy it the best we can anyway. And speaking of Juan Galindo, if you want to hear about his story as GM of Grand Rapids Hey, Luke, great to be here, man. It is going to be an exciting night. Classic rivalry from within the NFPL and beyond, with these two local clubs constantly facing each other from youth level all the way up through senior teams. It's sure to be a banger. Early action from Sammy. Expect him to really be disruptive on the court. He is great not only physically and with his skills, but also pretty good at the mind games as well. So sure to be getting under the skin of these guys over here at Futsal Factory. Also for Lay, got a great eye on Frankie and the goal in between the pipes. You know, he did a stint at the first ever college futsal team, and that would be Westcliff University. He's back home now and playing for us, and man, we couldn't be happier to have him. Gabriel Gomez now as well, a young player on the team now. Sammy, wow, what a play early for Olay. Great play down the line from Gabe. He's been definitely a player to watch, as you guys saw on the pregame show that Luke and I did for Olay. And then, Lito, of course, finding Sammy, that brotherly connection. Whenever you have those two guys on the court, it's a different kind of synergy compared to most players. Great lift down the line there from Futsal Factory, but the cross finds no one. So much of what makes Olay tick comes from Coach Fabian. His family atmosphere within this club and the connection with his players clearly resonates throughout the organization. And it's no different here with the men's side or the women's side when we get to see them in action. Wow, what a shot from Futsal Factory. Looks like a bit of a line switch here for Olay as well. So we'll see some fresh legs here to see if they can reset the play and get that back and get the tie broken once again. Ooh, tough foul.
Seen a little higher press from Olay here in the last couple of seconds, switching off from the low press that the first line was doing. Looks like they might be looking to make that early break and force a mistake in Ann Arbor's own half. Whoa, what a shot from Cesar. Oh my goodness. Great rip from half court. And just like that, Olay's back on top in front of their home fans. Let's see how Ann Arbor responds to this from Futsal Factory. Yeah, I love that the intelligence from whoever set this up to utilize the top of the bleachers instead of the bottom, so we still get a full court experience. And it looks like the fans have come out in full as they normally do for Olay. Always a tough spot to play is in Grand Rapids, and they tend to be a bit of an army no matter where the game is hosted at within the city limits. Again, it goes back to what Fabian does very, very well, and that's create that family atmosphere. When you're part of Olay, you're part of a family, and these kids must look up to these guys. A lot of them, not only adult players, but whoa, what a rip. You got to feel that Futsal Factory will be motivated tonight. You know, they're still looking for their first points of the season, but that's not to say anything about the quality of the team. And after Olay fans traveled to Ann Arbor earlier in the year and turned it into their fortress, I'm sure they're looking for a bit of revenge, and what better way to do it than to take points away from home for Olay. Especially being in a new building, it's always going to create some hiccups. Certainly not the first time we've seen some technical difficulties trying to film this year and even last year as teams are trying to find their groove, and not only on the court, but also behind the camera as well. Kick in for Grand Rapids in a dangerous spot. Wow, look at that. Futsal Factory certainly with a bit of a groove to him right now. Looking absolutely strong and fighting against rivals Olay here. Certainly looking to make a big statement.
Hey, did you just give it to them? Did you give it to them? That's all I care about.
One thing you got to remember about Olay, these guys have been down before. They rarely crack under pressure. We've seen this team down by several points in hostile environments before, and Coach Fabian always preaches patience and being calm, and he's going to be preaching that now. Hey, don't let these guys rattle you. This is your house. Play our game. Stick to the strategy, and it'll pay off. Great coverage there by Frankie, but the shot was off target. Looks like he's starting to get into a groove as well, as he's been under some decent pressure, definitely more than he's used to. Probably aside from only the Cadence game last week where he was under a barrage with their 5th attacker in the second half. Certainly a chippy game as well, so Olay coming in a little shorthanded last week and only had 7 players to their name, and then facing a Cadence team that has been known to be physical this season. Definitely a tough task to travel away from home against a physical team shorthanded, but they did a great job of getting ahead early and setting a tone, and then both teams ended up flying their keepers and taking some risks, which led to a crazy scoreline. You know, anytime you have 24 goals in a game, you know there were some fireworks. Another interesting thing about this Olay team is a lot of it is coaches on the court with people that they used to coach. Several levels of what you could almost call generations. I was fortunate enough to talk to Juan, the general manager, last week leading up to this game, and that was one of the things that his club and he take a lot of pride in, is the fact that there are several almost generations of players that come through this, where you have these 3 different groups of kids that have evolved through the program and become adults, and now not only represent as coaches for the future generations that are sitting in the stands right now, but are playing together and keeping that same energy and consistency on the court. That's right, Cole Russell making a switch back to Futsal Factory over the last season. Someone that was a mainstay for Olay 2 years ago. Last year, unfortunately, had a severe leg break during a game during arena soccer for Rapid City FC, and now finds himself wearing black and blue instead of the Olay red. Great shot there by Futsal Factory, almost 2 goals ahead. Looks like we might have lost visual again, but starting to reload. Olay now working the ball. Nice little lift by Sammy, but unfortunately goes a little wayward outside. Let's see what Futsal Factory can do with this as they look for the hard restart out of their own half. But plenty of room to work here. Lito trying to cut off Robert Dameron is the option on the opposite side. A long ball sails out of bounds and into the hallway of Wyoming High School. We'll see you in second period. Great interception there by Futsal Factory, changing the tempo to try and give themselves a chance to reset against the Soleil D. Liftover is just too close to Frankie. He makes a great save, and unfortunately Gabe is just out of reach of that ball, and it goes out of bounds. Curious to see how that will develop as well. I noticed Robert Dameron really playing the wing and trying to be that extra option in the back, almost to create that 2-3. Certainly something that Olay was able to take advantage of last week against Cadence was the goalkeeper being out of position in plays like that, and they had 2 goals right over the top. So certainly something that I'm sure Futsal Factory was watching on the tape and mindful of, but even so, Robert creating options and having that extra pass available to try and swing back over to Ducks if the over-the-head ball isn't there. Certainly a lot of new faces in this Olay squad this year. You know, you hope by the 4th game that you've got each other figured out, but certainly a lot of a big difference here for this club. You don't see the Mendez brothers. You don't see Cole Russell as he's on the other side. And look at this, another miscue. And Futsal Factory takes advantage. It's 4-2. Great play to take advantage there as Olay didn't ever really seem set on defense on that play. Jair finds Cesar. Cesar back to Sammy. Olay trying to find a way to break through here, probing with passes. This looks more like the Olay we're used to seeing. Lots of high press from Futsal Factory, trying to keep the intensity up. Oh, and an own goal for Futsal Factory. How unfortunate. I'll tell you what, though, look at Robert Dameron jumping straight to his defender and getting him to shake that off, making sure he knows that, hey, listen, this is part of the game. Have a short memory about it. That's one thing I really, really appreciate about Robert Dameron on Futsal Factory. You know, he has really taken the international experience he's got with the U.S. men's national team and turned it into quite a leadership skill, playing behind the likes of Diego Morietti in that national team and learning from one of the best. And it really shines through. He is definitely one of the top stars, if not the top star, of this Futsal Factory team for me. Calls for handball. Did they get it? Looks like it. Absolutely. Another great stop, though, this time without an arm. You think about that first goal of the season for Olay, and it was on a free kick against Imperial, Detroit Imperial, who's in action tonight against Cadence. So they're not afraid to set up a play right off the rip and try and find a way to get creative and catch the team off guard. And they started with style that way to start the season, and now they're going to be looking for more. Yeah, Mo's seen some action after being out last week. Looks like Drew Ducker's leading a counterattack here for Futsal Factory, trying to make a cut. Not quite there. Oh, just over the top for Olay. Noticing a lot of balls over the top out of the back for Futsal Factory, trying to utilize that 2-2 to get set in the opposite corner of the court with Olay. And it looks like the idea is maybe to play it back out or play down that line off of that touch. But they haven't quite got that connection. Certainly been close several times. So definitely something to be worried about and be mindful of as Olay's coming back and resetting. And Futsal Factory trying to make the most of a side that doesn't look like it's settled in quite just yet. Olay themselves looking to reset as well. It appears they're getting that formation fixed. It looked like the 3-1 had been flip-flopped. Quick foul there, and are we going to see a card? I think veteran referee Brent here has a card out, and sure enough, yellow card. Well, and for me in real time as a referee, hands up by the face, you gotta take the benefit of the doubt on that and make that call. Certainly not out of line for him to pull the card out of the back pocket. And as I mentioned, the referees in this game, certainly regulars and very, very familiar with both these teams as they run the Michigan circuit. It's definitely a team of referees that adds a dynamic to this game that a lot of people don't talk about, and that's the fact that these players have been playing with these referees just as long as they've been playing with each other. So they should know how they think and how to play with these guys just like they're playing with their teammates.
Hey guys, I don't think they can hear me.
Nice takeaway there from Futsal Factory under pressure. Is this going to turn into a... No, it's not. I thought maybe there might be a foul there, but the refs don't see enough. And now we see a timeout. Looks like for Futsal Factory as they look to reset. Another great thing about Robert, he never takes for granted what's going on the court. You know, not to take away from NFPL action to talk about other areas, but watching Robert Dameron play for the national team in Croatia a couple of years ago, and that was what actually saved points in a tournament for the United States of America, was the fact that Robert Dameron did not give up on the play, stayed on his toes. He doesn't stop. Even when the whistle's blown, he makes sure that his goal is protected before anything else to make sure that nothing gets through to that the back of that net. Yeah, I see a veteran Urbano sitting there in the stands. Jesse as well, part of the regular coaching staff for the Olay. Sure, they were active today with the number of kids we see in the stands as well, as they are heading into this weekend. School of Futsal in Grand Rapids having a tournament this weekend. So I can only imagine that both these teams and their coaches, not only for the men's team, but for their youth squads, has been busy and will continue to be busy through the rest of the weekend. Fair to say, Luke, that you and I are either the B or the C squad to be on the mic for Olay. Maybe both. But Rudy, definitely a star with this Olay squad. You know, again, this family is really impressive, not only in the sense of the players and the reach of the club, but also in the way that they take care of everyone in every role. The volunteers for this organization are what make this stream work, and that's why their production level most weeks is so high in the homeschool building where they're familiar. it just becomes muscle memory for them as they go through this, and they've got a great groove that really represents the brand extremely well. Looks like we're getting ready to start back up. Robert Dameron, captain of this team, looking to rally the troops out of this timeout, and let's see what they came up with as a plan. Olay not falling for it. Got to tell you, Gabe's footwork has been so impressive through this season. And then he's young blood for this team as well, bringing a lot of pace. And even so, he's really good at changing the tempo. What he does can sometimes be subtle. Sometimes he's slowing down the game. Sometimes he's speeding it up. And even if he's not the one that ends up on a stat sheet, he's creating plays by keeping the defenders on their toes. Really impressive player that'll be great for the future of this league. Series of turnovers, and it comes back to Olay. Little bit of debris the referee didn't like there, and now we're back up and at it. More than halfway through this half. Luca, what are you seeing from both teams, and what do you think they need to do to keep the pressure on this half? A lot of pressure from Futsal Factory here. Olay looking to find a way out. Lito looking to find a way around. I've noticed that Olay continues to just probe for that pass, looking for a way to break this low press. Bit of an unfortunate step there. Now a high press from Olay. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off, and now there's a numbers advantage. But just like that, potential counter. Futsal Factory able to let it squeeze out of bounds. Also good because I think his Allah thought he was under pressure there. He certainly came to the ball quickly, and then obviously heard Robert shouting at him and started to slow down that pace and body that out. So smart team play by both those guys to get a chance to reset their team and not have to be in a panic position for no reason, really. A lot of things, Sammy, are known for. That a lot of times we never get to the clothing choices. Another thing you might not be able to see on camera with that kit that you'd be able to see by following the team on social media or joining in that Discord is there's actually a star within that map as well, which is marking where the club was formed and founded. So really cool stuff. Unitas did a great job with that kit. It's got a ton of character to it. As well as across the back of the shoulders, there is an ode to the old name of ABK before they switched back to Olay. So really touching on all the major moments of their history and paying homage to Fabian and his hard work over decades to bring futsal to Grand Rapids. Great footwork by Jair. Almost finds that back post. Incredible play to get there. I kind of forgot we were on the mic. I had to pick my jaw up for a minute on that one. Great shot by Futsal Factory on the return. Lots of pressure in both directions. This is certainly an exciting game as we expected it to be. Like we mentioned in the beginning, a ton of history between these clubs that goes sometimes from youth on to adulthood for some of these players that have seen each other a lot through several tournaments. So you got to expect, no matter where either of these teams are in the standings at any given time, that there's going to be some fireworks along the way. Oh, what a flick. Good to see Jesse back on the bench. Someone who certainly has been part of the history of this Olay club and has some hardware to his name in the trophy cabinet that he helped work to earn. Integral part of this team. Oh, and a great shot by Olay. Dameron has it covered. Man, what a tough guy to get by. Olay looking to work around out of this corner kick. Futsal Factory on it. Can they make something out of the counter? Right now, too much pressure. Olay pushing. Jair, can he get the shot off? Another great save by Robert Dameron and right back into position. That's the thing you got to feel as a Futsal Factory player as well. You've got a captain behind you with a ton of upside and can stop some pretty impressive shots. It takes a lot of times something really special to get by Robert. It's hard to find him on an easy one. And, once you get a goal up or two, you got to feel that you get a little bit of swagger about you out on that court, knowing that you are in control of this game. On the flip side, though, Olay never feels like they're out of control. So how do you break these two seemingly immovable objects? Oh, and there's a way to do it right there. Unbelievable. Mose with the turn and the cut, and what a celebration, and rightfully earned. And with that, they're subbing off. Hey, we did our job. Now you guys get out there and do something. Refs didn't see enough on that one, even though there was a call for a foul from the Futsal Factory players. Just good, strong ball. That's one of the things I love about futsal. I don't know how you feel about this, Luke, but it can be a finesse game, it can be a physical game, and it changes so quickly from player to game and even to play from the same players. It's such a beautiful sport. Oh, what a great turn. Oh, and they're calling it back for the foul. I see. Certainly the call of Cesar was looking at goal. Oh, and he's possibly another chance, but maybe being too friendly with opposing goalkeeper Robert Dameron to be set in time for that play. Cheeky back heel there by Olay. Sorry, Luke, couldn't help but call that one out. What a bold play. Olay maybe starting to feel like they're in a groove right now as they've tied up the match. Sammy thought he saw that inside post open, and the feed from Lito was beautiful. The Futsal Factory player allowed him to play it to that left foot. You know he loves it. He's had some pretty famous goals in the FPL with that lefty, including a back post assist and goal against Imperial in the first game of the season. And also, who can forget that volley against Columbus Futsal last season? I mean, it was famous and echoed through the local futsal catacombs as people were watching him lift it over a defender and then volley it past their keeper with that strong cannon of a left foot. So keep an eye out for him to continue to look for shots like that. Another long shot, unfortunately wayward for Futsal Factory, but you got to feel they're not out of this, and they don't look rattled by the goals being at a tie scenario right now. They look just as confident as Olay did as they were behind, and you got to imagine that there's a lot more to this story tonight. Two guys that know each other very well, veterans of the league. Don't forget, these teams are only an hour and a half drive from each other as well, so it's not hard to find each other on the court. Not to mention any other leagues that they may be playing in, an outdoor or otherwise. Sammy trying to find space, but Futsal Factory collapses on him, and now the counter. Drew able to hang on to that ball after a pass that bounces back to him. The move's not enough. Is this a counter for Olay? They do save it from going out of bounds, but ultimately it does go out the back for a goalie throw. Robert teeing up on the opposite side as he has all game. Dangerous long pass. You know, when you do those in futsal, a lot of time to think compared to usual passes, and they were able to get Olay through the middle there to cut that off. definitely want to make sure that they clean those up as they look to head into the second half here shortly. Surely a handball? No, they're calling for the goalie throw. Interesting. Veteran referee Brent, who knows these guys very well, he didn't see enough. Was it ball to hand? Was it hand to ball? How far was his arm out? A lot to think about for these poor referees. I'm not saying I don't complain from time to time, but I certainly feel for them. I wouldn't want their job, and I don't plan on doing any of it anytime soon. It's going to need to be a significant number, guys. Keep those wallets in your pocket. You're not going to like my number. Maybe for a charity game someday. How about that? I'll get yelled at for charity. How about that? Frankie with a rip. You know, we saw Frankie tear things up against Cadence as they similarly mirrored that fifth attacker as Cadence took it against them to stay in the game. And he had a great assist towards the end of the match that found Gabe Villagomez on the back post in the last, I'd say, 4 minutes or so of that match. So keep an eye out for him working his way up and down that line. Another goalkeeper that's not afraid to get outside of that arc. Miguel Cervantes, number 69. Great counter here, Olay finding a way to hang on to that ball. Do they find the middle? They do! What a beautiful goal! Unbelievable from Grand Rapids Olay. A turnover to Olay possessing the ball and keeping it all the way to the net. Finding that middle and not giving up on the play. That's what Olay's all about. Olay with another potential turnover in the opposite half. No, not enough there for the foul, but way to slow the play down. Futsal Factory, give them credit. They're not giving up either. This is going to be a fantastic game. Mo's looking for his second goal of the season there and second in this game. He tallied 5 last season. He was one of those players for the team that was just pure consistency. Was he always on the stat sheet? No. But did he have an impact on every game? Yes, absolutely. Here we go, lifting down the court. Robert Dameron able to clean it up very easily. Decides to play it short. Looking for a quick shot as we get towards the end, but way off frame there. Frankie sees it out. Olay looks content to hang on to the ball and kill this. They certainly have the momentum as they're heading on to the half. And there's the high press from Futsal Factory. They're not content. They're looking to keep this thing moving. It looks like our shot clock says 0, but looking at the game clock inside of the gymnasium here, I think we have 12 seconds left in this one. Does Olay decide to burn it out? Let's take a look. No, they look for a quick opportunity. It's not there. Now can Olay make a counter? There's Cole Russell, a familiar face. It's not enough, but he does earn himself a corner. The fans, as you can see, leaning in, really getting excited for this one. Can Cole make something out of this corner? He lifts it to the back post, but it's dealt with, but not completely gone. Kick in for Futsal Factory. They'll have to move swiftly on this one. And unfortunately, it's not enough. We head into halftime.
What are you doing over here? What are you doing over here? Jackson didn't want to come over. Ah! Do it. Am I good? Just leave it here.
Well said, Luke. Hey, we're rookie commentators, but we're veteran fans, and we just love the sport. And man, we are getting our money's worth out of this one for sure. Yeah. I don't think you could have said it better for me. I mean, it's the usual stuff, and yet it continues to amaze us from both teams. You know, I look back over the last couple of seasons for Futsal Factory, and their standings have never really done them justice. They're in almost all of the games. Very rarely do you see them in a blowout. And for some reason, the last couple of seasons, there's just been some unfortunate timing for them where they don't quite get the record they deserve when we look at the standings by themselves. But the goal differential is never far off, and I think that tells a big story for just how close they are in every single game. They're that dark horse that you always want to bet on because they're gonna earn you a couple of bucks along the way. They're in every match. They're gritty. You know, I look at Olay though, and it's a very impressive squad for a number of reasons. It starts with Coach Fabian. Like you said, you know, he's a guy that is very hard to rattle. He's looking and constantly adjusting to the play. He does it smoothly. He does it almost second nature. And I've been fortunate enough to talk to Coach Fabian during tournaments with his youth academies. And that's a big part of his coaching strategy is he likes to watch how the other team is performing, not how his team is performing. And he makes adjustments accordingly. He's not watching his own bench and his own players. He's watching the other team and learning how to beat them from a tactical perspective and trusting his players to get the job done. And it's very clear that these players not only trust Coach Fabian, but also each other as they play together. As I mentioned in the first half, different levels of what you could call generations coming out of this youth academy. And I think that's the thing that may carry Olay through the second half is they just have a lot more youth on that bench compared to Futsal Factory. Futsal Factory, a little bit older roster. You know, you look at some of these players like Drew Ducker and like Cole Russell, not an old guy, but certainly by sports standards, in the middle of his career, as well as Robert Dameron nearing that way. There's not a ton of youth on this team that can carry them from a stamina perspective through the second half. So they need to be mindful of those high presses and use them tactically and not just use them blindly so they don't find themselves gassed at the end of the second half.
Yeah. I got it up there.
Hey, Jay, what's the other stuff that you got on
Everybody, thank you for your support during the halftime and buying 50/50 raffle. This applause is for you. We appreciate you guys every day, every night to find out. Thank you for the Grand Rapids Royal Men's. You helped us get a little bit closer to reaching Atlantic City and bringing home a trophy for you guys. We will be announcing the winner at the end of the game. And
Fabian, I'm gonna tell everybody to thank the fans right now because we won like 1,000 of them. I'm gonna tell the guys to give everybody. Can you tell them to give them a thank you because we not now, but can you tell them thank you right now because we just won like 1,000 of them. At the end, I guess. Today or tomorrow? Yeah, I'll do it as soon as I get done here.
How do I make it bigger?
You hear my clickety clacks on my keyboard. Futsal Factory getting ready to get us started for the second half. Can't wait to see how they come out and what kind of energy they'll be looking to send to set the tone for this second half. Quick clearance to relieve some pressure there. It looks like Cesar Martinez as well as Yair Real. Trying to see who we have on the other side there. I believe that's Cesar Aiello that was on the other side of the court there as well when we get back to the action. Looks like we're back now.
It was. We just had it.
Good news, it doesn't look like we missed any goals so far.
A bit disconnected.
It is. It's on Do Not Disturb. It's from the thing.
Down in that VIP section right behind the box for the home team, no less. That's how you know you're looking at local royalty. Cesar with a great move down the line. Can he beat the second? No, Drew's able to slide it away. Yeah, several strong side tackles from Drew, finding his way to reach that ball and stay in the play. He's had a couple of significant stops on counterattacks as well that's been able to slow down the play and allow the rest of his team to catch up and be able to play some strong defense for Futsal Factory. Our first foul of the half. A little bit of a tangle up there, and Cesar finds his way to the ground, but no worries. He's going to get a quick reprieve as another line comes out for Olay. Lito on the ball. This can only mean magic could potentially happen for Olay. Over the top of the frame, usually something that's reserved for an alumni of the team, which is Gio Garcia. We've even seen Gio be teased in Twitch chats by unknown moderators over some of the shots that have got over the top for him. Great save by Frankie. What quick thinking by the goaltender for Olay. High pressure here from Olay. They force a long ball over the top that, ooh, on frame for Robert Dameron, but just above that post, not too far off. Now, the moderator that put that together, I know it went easy on him and just called it the cannon. So, just for the record, that unknown moderator did, lighten things up for him. If he does look for me in the streets of Grand Rapids. I mean the moderator in the streets of Grand Rapids. Great find down the court here. Lito able to partner up with brother Sammy. We've seen that so many times between these two. Lito is like a bit of a shark. Sammy is, certainly has a presence as the taller brother of the two and a very physical player on the court and almost famous for it here in the league. Lito kind of finds his way sneaking up and finding that strong double that just suffocates pivots on a regular basis. Not a play we haven't seen before by the brothers, but insanely effective in this league. Oh, Lito almost found that putback, but Cole Russell looking for it. Almost like he's seen that play before. Maybe even been a part of it. Great find to Sammy. Sammy on his favored left. Luckily, our hallway monitor was there to keep it within the gymnasium. Off the deflection. Oh, the play breaks down. Cole Russell with a breakaway. He's not able to put it on frame, but Frankie has to find his way back into position. So Cole with another critical cross here, but it just doesn't quite get to his intended target. Olay defending really well here in the first 3 minutes of this half. Not cracking under pressure, staying consistent. Trademark Olay play. Another counter potential here. Shot from wide. Long, I should say, goes wide. Got excited. Interesting. I think we've talked about Cole more in the first 4 minutes of this 3-4 minutes of this second half than we did the entire first half. Finding him a way to get a little more involved in these plays and make an impact for Futsal Factory. Lito's pass eventually finding its intended target. Do we have a foul here? We do. Dangerous place for... Certainly in familiar territory for that goal of the month nominee that was the first goal against Imperial. Let's see what they do here. The Lito brothers trying to find a way to create some magic. Sammy with a rip off of the save on the counter. My goodness, Robert had to work hard to keep that one out. And slow to get up. Not the first time these two have faced off and Robert has been slow to get up. That cannon from Sammy is just absolutely lethal. Great lift. Sammy trying to find some control here. A little higher than he wanted, it looks like. Counterattack Futsal Factory. Counterattack Olay. Peters out. Good crowd out here in Grand Rapids tonight. We didn't expect any less. Seen a lot of crowd behind the camera as well as we pan into these corners. Not just famous celebrities like Rudy and Urbano, but also seen a lot of the Youth Academy back on the camera side of the court as well. So you gotta imagine that this is a tough room for Futsal Factory to be playing in and maintain their focus. Great goal by Futsal Factory and Cole Russell, no less. Cole Russell was an integral part of the offense for Grand Rapids Olay 2 seasons ago, and we certainly saw it affect the goal ratio for Grand Rapids last year when he broke his leg. But this time, finding the net for the opposing team. 5-5. The classic witness protection plan. Move towns, grow mustache. We see you out there, Cole. Both teams applying quite a bit of pressure here. Seeing Ben Pritchard work the court quite a bit here as well. Number 8 for Futsal Factory. He's another regular in the squad. Absolutely. Certainly a player that is well known within the league. Certainly had some star-studded moments last season. Does Cesar find it? Robert Dameron's able to stay on it. The footwork, though, so impressive from these young players on Olay. A lethal duo for the youth coming out of Grand Rapids. Another great find, a 1-2. Just a little bit out of control and out of reach for Robert to scoop up. Luckily, the ball was pretty far ahead of the majority of the Futsal Factory players. Not quite the counter they were probably hoping for. A lot of 3-1 action from Olay in the first half and starting the second half as well. Being patient, passing and probing, hoping to find a cleaner pass than that. A little bit unusual there for Olay to turn it over there. Typically a little more patient, and then also giving up a foul there as well. Something that Rudy's famous for on the microphone is pointing out that Olay sometimes gets a little overzealous and gets themselves in foul trouble in those second halves. So we'll see if that's an impact in today's game. Great save there by Frankie to get down. But it's a corner kick now for Futsal Factory. Pressure's not away. Oh, that was a great find there on that corner. Perfectly lifted right to the feet. Yeah, great first touch by Futsal Factory to create that play. And now they continue to push Olay outside, and although they haven't won the ball back, they're stopping any quick counters out of these free kick situations, these potential set pieces that Ole's made themselves famous for. Oh, that one, another deflection, almost unfortunate, but Robert's ready for it. Ronaldinho, Messi, Ronaldo, all the big names you know from the outdoor game, all started out in futsal and street soccer and figuring out how to put that ball on a string, and that's why they're able to wow you for the mega bucks on the big screen. Another one to another great stop by the Fixo. A little overzealous with that pass on the counter, and it looks like Ole's got a 3-on-3 here. Can they make anything of it? Yair Real getting out of trouble. Reset smartly. What can Ole do here? Can Mose head it in? It's off the post! Oh, Mose almost gets his second of the season and second of the game with a beautiful flick. Pretty brave heading a futsal ball, you got to be sure, and Mose was sure on that one. You certainly feel that density on those headers. Mose with another shot. Oh, just not enough on the putback by Yair to get it on frame in time. Just a little too soft. Impressive from both teams. Absolutely. And still plenty of game to go. 5-5, 13 minutes left. This could still turn into anything. Another takeaway from Ole and Futsal Factory's half. Mo's still looking to find that second goal, but just a few too much black and blue in front of him. And then, of course, Robert Dameron, who we've talked about all night. Mo's tries to hang on to it, squirts out. Slows down a counter, if nothing else, I'd say. Ben Pritchard with his ability to create plays of the month and plays of the week. Good for Mose to stay in that one and make sure it didn't turn into anything dangerous and let his team reset on a goal kick. Or goalie throw. Absolutely. I mean, you got a lot of time in this game. Nothing to be too excited about. Maybe more frustration with yourself in that moment, of course. But hey, don't let it show. It's only 5-5 with 12 minutes to go. What a rip! I thought Robert had a save there, but it looks like it's a goalie throw. But he definitely seemed to have it covered, didn't he? Nothing else. It's important to note Robert is fresh out of U.S. men's national team training camp from last week, so he's certainly coming into this game on his A game. He's been playing with international players that are hopefully going to represent the United States come here in April for the CONCACAF Futsal Championships. And I'm hearing rumors that there's some friendlies on the way for the United States as well. So we may see Robert Dameron in a USA shirt here and be covering him soon here on YouTube. We've had a ton of NFPL action on the channel as well. We've interviewed the likes of David Fresquez, who you guys see in the chat right now from Santa Fe Gloom. He has an absolutely incredible story there as the new team for the Southwest Division. And we've also interviewed someone you guys may be familiar with here in the chat, and that's Juan Galindo, GM for Grand Rapids Olay. Does something come here? Little too out of control. Well said. Looks like a keeper change for Olay here in the last couple minutes as well. Sammy with the stop. Finds Gabe, player of the week from match week 7. Almost makes something out of nothing there. Luke, I think you said it best in the pregame show. Gabe is one of those players that is subtle on the court. You know, all of a sudden he puts a move on. You know, you're sitting there, you think you have him covered, and the next thing you know, he's doing something incredible in front of you. And I gotta say, he's been doing a lot of that tonight, even though he hasn't had as many goal tallies as he did last week. He's certainly been integral at the top of that arc and wreaking havoc. And it's created a lot of opportunities, not only for him, but for other players. I think some of the greatest teams in the world, that's what they do. They control the pace. It's not always just full throttle or tactical. It's both. And finding a way to catch the other team off guard in one or the other is what leads to goals for a lot of these best teams. Great save there. What a great play by Futsal Factory, though, as well, to find those passes and shots through traffic. Commissioner Drew Jucker looking to get things restarted. Fortunately not creative enough, and Olay is now on the counterattack. Oh, what a strong tackle from Futsal Factory. Now it's a 2v1. What can they do with it? Corner. Olay able to find a way to choke that out in the corner and let their team recover. Another great save for Olay. What happens here? It's a... Oh! Referees don't see enough. Interesting. I don't know. That was a tough one. I mean, it was a ball that no one particularly had much control over. Robert feeling guilty enough to at least go say something to Cesar, but I think, you know, for the referees, 5-5, we're halfway through the second half. It's tough to see and tough to call, and the near side referee on that was on the far side of the court. Maybe too tough to see to make a definitive call, so they play conservative on that and let it go. Play back to poking and probing, trying to find that right pass that opens up this Factory defense. Factory sitting in that low press, trying not to fall for it. You know, that's another thing I absolutely love about this game is every single player attacks, every single player defends. You can't afford to feel uncomfortable in position in futsal, or the other team's going to expose you for your weaknesses very, very quickly. Kick in for Futsal Factory. What can they generate here? We see a counter here. Futsal Factory getting back in a very good way, but a great one, too, off of that baseline. We've seen it before. Olay's looked for it a couple of times in this match. They benefited from it against Cadence. We have a talking to here. Maybe a minor cut or something as well. I see them pointing to the elbows. Is there a little bit of blood they want covered up? We're talking to...
Oh, that was weird. It just randomly shut off.
Another tough call for the referees. How long do you disrupt the play and the flow of this game? But the reality is, they unfortunately have to be the bad cops in this situation to make sure everyone plays safely. Otherwise, everyone's going to err on their competitive nature and continue on. So, you know, someone's got to be the voice of reason during these games. Interesting, Factory didn't ask for 5 meters there because they were certainly crowded by Olay on that set piece. Now Olay with the... Great rotational play from Olay, but unfortunately doesn't amount to much but a kick in. Oh, what a great save by Robert Dameron. All the best goalkeepers are. And you know why? Because goalkeepers are crazy. You can't be sane and volunteer to stand between the pipes and take these bullets to the head for 40 minutes. And I'm here for it. Great physical play. Looks like foul against Olay. I think that might be fair. Is it another foul or is it out of bounds there? Hard to tell. Against former teammate as well, Cole Russell, no less. Cesar looking for the counter, but can't quite get it over the fixo. Olay kick in, and they take advantage to reset the lines. Big size difference there. Is it a mismatch, or is Drew Ducker up to the physical challenge? Sammy not trying to take advantage just yet. Great save by Olay. What a find by Drew Ducker there. As you continue on in this game, regardless of age, endurance, experience, futsal is a sport that just forces you to adapt. And you got to find a way to use your strengths to your advantage and beat the other team, because it all happens fast and you got to learn on the fly. Can't afford to be a student from the sideline and try and take notes. Little back and forth here. Deflects out for a Futsal Factory kick-in a dangerous place. A little bit of a fingertip there, but hey, better safe than sorry. It's another corner. Cole looking to make something out of this kick-in. Drew Ducker on the backside. Do we see a volley here? It's deflected by Olay. The 1v1 evolves into a 3v2. Sammy. Oh. Great play by the Factory defense, and it turns into a goal on the counter. They're certainly excited about it. Smart to take advantage. You know, I think that we had a numbers game here for Futsal Factory in the long run. Sammy having to recover there after falling over Robert Dameron. You know, Robert doesn't have to worry about getting up back to that side of the half, but Sammy certainly does. And Futsal Factory capitalizes before Olay can reset on defense. These are the things that change momentum in futsal and change games. Does it turn into more here? Good pressure from Futsal Factory. Not the first time we've seen it from Olay this season. They have utilized both goalkeepers, you know, but not something we've seen before this year. Miguel was the stalwart for a long time in between those two pipes, and part of the reason certainly was because he could fly. So you didn't really need to bring in that field player to be a fifth attacker in any situations. He was just so versatile from his outdoor experience out on the field. His foot skills were superb. But now we've got two young keepers between the pipes for Olay. Is this an experience thing in a long-term game to give them both playtime in top-level situations? Certainly. His offensive power has certainly been felt in this game. He's been a part of several plays that have led to goals. And his experience and knowing this team as well as he does certainly is having an impact on the match against Olay. Sammy in a familiar spot. What a goal! The player of the week shows why. He's been brushing back and forth across his body all season. His foot skills are sublime, and he has just been mesmerizing defenders, and he took advantage there to keep this game tied 6-6.
I knew right when I saw that matchup he was scoring. Yeah.
Oh, sure enough.
I know.
Set piece on the sideline results in another kick in for Futsal Factory. They're going to try it again, this time keeping the ball instead of the shot. Olay able to relieve some pressure. But it is still Futsal Factory ball. About 5 minutes left in this match. Futsal Factory looking to get down fast to the other half, but it is right in the safe hands of the goalkeeper at the top of the arc. Back to a 3-1 for Olay. Low pressure, low press from Futsal Factory. Trying to create compact spaces and force that turnover. Absolutely another young face in the team that's... Oh, what a great shot and a goal! Incredible goal. Just when you thought that we were still looking for that pass to break Futsal Factory open, Cesar says, you know, I'm tired of waiting. Let's score this right now. Cesar's one of those players on the team that he has certainly youth on his side when you look at his age in relation to some of the league here. But, man, he has had a ton of first-team experience with Olay from the time he was a teenager, and it's showing now as he has just been a youth player playing as a veteran on this court and making a difference. What better way to watch an in-state rivalry, Luke, than a back and forth, several ties, several lead changes? My, my, my. Hey, a little over 5 minutes left. Plenty of time in this. I think actually just under 5 minutes left. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between the court clock inside of the high school here as opposed to what is on our shot clock. But if I'm Futsal Factory, I am calling a timeout here. Maybe we set up a set piece on this play. We've caught Olay off guard a couple of times being out of position setting up for these. Now, on the flip side, you are giving Olay a chance to start thinking here on how they want to react and how they want to continue this pressure as they have had another momentum swing in their favor back and forth. The pendulum is back on the Olay side. You certainly want to come out of this timeout with something special, as every timeout you take also gives Coach Fabian a chance to just grab that tactical prowess that he has and utilize it with his team all at once and deliver a uniform message. Absolutely. We've seen games swing in a matter of 30 to 40 seconds in a futsal game before for several goal difference. Interesting here, we see Futsal Factory flying the keeper. Drew Ducker coming out and being the fifth attacker. Does it pay off right off the rip? No, he misses the frame. Unusual miss from Ben Pritchard in that range as well. Uncharacteristic for him. Mo's on the ball. Now he's in the middle. Let's see if he can do something with this. Great save there by Ben Pritchard. These are the things that make him so vital to this league as a great player and someone that creates a lot of intensity. Not giving up on that ball and finding a way to create pressure down the field, down the court. Olay saving it there. Cuts in. Finds Sammy. What does Sammy do here? Back heel to Brother Lito as Sammy runs back post. Great idea there from Gabe, but Sammy had tucked back in to try and create some space for him. Bit of a miscue there. No foul there, just hard press. Sammy on the ball on the restart. Gabe Villagomez looking for that lift down the line. It's worked for him so well this season, but finds himself a very tall opposition here. So it's going to take a little more than that lift to get over him. This one peters out, and Robert Dameron takes advantage to allow Drew Ducker to be the 5th attacker again. Great header, but not enough. Wow. Again, Futsal Factory not giving up on a play, throwing everything they have at it. Cole Russell clearly frustrated, though. Something there didn't go to plan for them. Well, certainly not used to being on a team that is on the bottom half of the table either from his experience with Olay. I'm sure he's a little frustrated that they haven't found those first points given all the effort and work that Futsal Factory's put into this season. Restart Olay. Sammy lifts it down the line. It's not enough. But Brother Lito is able to scoop up a deflection on the defensive effort. Pass shot. Ooh. Nice use of face. Another opportunity for Olay on a counter. How does it work? Unbelievable. Selfless play. Selfless play leads to a Gabe Villagomez goal. Unbelievable. It's that team effort. It's that family atmosphere. Everyone is part of Olay. It's not an individual effort, and it showed there. Could have easily taken a rip if he wanted to. Finds Gabe on that back post for a much simpler touch to guarantee that goal. And now a 2-point lead with 3 minutes to go for Grand Rapids Olay. Futsal Factory, now they're the ones passing and probing, trying to find a way through a defense. A long-range shot leads to a save. That looked on target for me, Luke. I don't know about you. I think that was a smart move by the goalkeeper to make sure that got pushed over the top. No, I wouldn't either. I'd be covering a full-size goal range from outdoor to make sure that Cole wasn't scoring. Freddie in the chat asking how much time's left. Our time is showing at 2:49 on our scoreboard, but I believe that's a little bit off. I think we're under 2 minutes to play. If we can get a quick glimpse at the scoreboard here, I'll be sure to update you guys. Certainly going to be a factor here as we wind things down in Wyoming High School. Drew Ducker's throw, not enough, but they still keep the ball on a kick-in. And a kick-in again for Futsal Factory here as they continue to press forward. Turnover here. Olay has the ball. They get past that 5th attacker. Waiting for the cameraman to catch up. This has been a fast-paced game. Looks like Drew remembered he could use his hands there and grabbed it really quick. Quick update from Chicago. I just got a message from Detroit Imperial. That game ended 6-6 in a tie. So Cadence finds their first points of the season and gets 1 point off of a tie at home against a very tough Detroit Imperial team. Curious how that game went since we were not able to get a feed from the building there in Cadence. Absolutely no Even a little bit of a shoulder tap there with the referee. Yes, sir, I know you got to do it. You know, hey, I don't think that Ben realized he had help behind him and thought he had to slow that play down. I think that was meant to be a tactical yellow to let his team reset. Certainly didn't look malicious to me, but had to be given. Quick counter here from Futsal Factory, but can't quite get to that back post fast enough to capitalize. High press now, though, from Futsal Factory. What do they do here? Can they force a mistake? Right now, they're looking at an attack from Olay in their own half. Now they look to counter. Again, Olay. Oh, what a move by Sammy! He puts a shot, but it goes right to Robert's feet. And a strong tackle to let his team reset here. A lot of back and forth between these two teams. Incredible stuff. Back post goal for Futsal Factory on a quick kick-in. Wow. Caught Olea flat-footed, made the most of it. And I believe that was Marlon De Fritas, who's a regular on the team for Futsal Factory. Been with them for several years, and he is perfectly positioned for a quick tap-in. No one saw it coming. We are within a goal of each other here. Safe kick out here for Futsal Factory, but it is out the back, so it's a corner kick now. Unfortunately, I've lost sight of the in-gym clock. I don't know what happened to the scoreboards out there, but we do not know the official time. 1:20 to the best of our knowledge here. Hard dig out here, but nothing too physical. That is the game. Incredible effort by both teams, Luke.
I would have fallen asleep most of
Unbelievable game for both teams. You know, it always stings when you score 7 goals and still can't come away with some points. You got to give Futsal Factory credit. They're still plagued, unfortunately, with the same results they had last season. High intensity, lots of effort, certainly in every game, but just can't quite seem to get those extra wins in that column for the 3 points to bump them up the ladder. As a Futsal Factory fan coming out of this, you got to feel like you were in this game the whole time and left some points on the table here. Olay defending the house as usual. Look at their fans. Look at the players of the Youth Academy out there with them. Look at how much it means to these players as they cheer on their fans as they begin to exit the high school gymnasium. This is what it's all about. The family of Olay, and the unbeaten streak continues, and Olay remains the only unbeaten team in the NFPL this season.
It better be my mom.
And the lucky winner is 8, 9, 3, 6, 9, 4.
Hey, you're in trouble.
Yeah, 8, 9, 3, 6, 9, 4. We got the winner over here. Oh, we got the winner over here.
Look, I agree 100%. Futsal Factory may have just missed out on points tonight, but the reality is you still have 6 games left in your season. There is a lot of time to go here. No one is out of this contest. Walk out of here with your heads and your chins up. There is a lot of season to go, and Futsal Factory, my message to you is you guys are playing incredible. The points are going to come. Stick to the game plan. Find a way to clean up a couple of minor things, and then you start to see a lot of wins in the column there. Olay, same thing, but in the opposite direction. Look, you've got 5 games left in this regular season. Do not let up. Do not rest on your laurels just because you're 4-0. There is still a lot of season to play, a lot of time left before we get to April, and you got to be on your top game and keep this intensity high, because when you're the top person on the pedestal, everyone is looking to knock you off.
What's up? Going to handle tear down?
No, I actually have to do. Well, I mean, if you want to tear down, but I have to do the scores before I do anything.
Oh, did he do it on Venmo? I think John did it like he had it written down.
Don't take speakers down.
I mean, if you want. Okay.
I can roll down for me.
I mean, at this point, I might as well just take